Hi everyone, today's intention is opening up the hips. This is especially good for beginners who may be suffering from either frozen hip syndrome or a super tight back. This would be excellent for opening it out and gradually beginning to develop flexibility within the body. So from a seated position, we're just going to come straight up into table pose. So from here, what we want to do is we want to take our hands in front of us, shoulder width apart. We're going to stack the shoulders on top of the elbows, on top of the wrists, and we're going to stack the hips on top of the knees. So from here, we want to try and see how long we can make ourselves, really pushing the bum away from the head and the head away from the torso. So trying to create a nice long spine. And then from here, we're going to go into some cat-cow. So on an inhale, we drop the back down, creating a nice arch in the back, bringing the chest up to look forward on an inhale. And then on an exhale, we push the abdomen into the lower back, reversing the pose, exhaling, creating a vacuum, looking down maybe towards our knees, create a nice rounded spine. And then once we've exhaled everything we've got, we'll inhale again, coming back up nice and slowly in time with the breath. And then once we've reached our peak, we'll exhale very slowly, bringing the stomach into the back body, tucking in the hips. And then on an inhale, going up, then exhaling back down. And we're just going to go for a few rounds of this, so feel free either to follow myself or maybe go in time with your own breath. We've all got different lung capacities, different sizes of bodies, so just do whatever you feel is comfortable. The hips are set exceptionally tight, so we don't want to be tensing anything, straining anything. We just want to ease everything off. The easier we can make it for ourselves, the looser we'll be able to make the muscle. So inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, coming down. This is an excellent dynamic pose, especially if you're sitting around in a chair all day. Just allows you to increase the movement in the body. Make sure everything's working okay. Exhaling back down. Inhaling up. And then exhaling back down again. Okay, coming up into tabletop pose again. What we're going to do is we're going to take our feet together and we're going to take our hips out as wide as our mat, maybe even wider if that's available to you. Then we're going to sit back into modified child's pose. This will really open up the inner thigh and the groin muscles. If it's available to you, maybe trying to get your bum to sit on your ankles, maybe getting your chest to touch the floor. Just continue to breathe nice and deeply. See if you can even out the breaths, making the inhales as long as the exhales. Inhaling, coming back up into tabletop pose, tucking the knees under. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the right leg first. We're just going to lift it up behind us, creating a nice 90-degree bend, nice sharp angles. Trying to make sure the weight is evenly displaced between both hands. And then on an exhale, we're just going to bring this through, tucking the knee under, carrying the foot across, landing it in between our hands. So this is us in low lunge here. Try to see if you can lean the hips forward, creating a nice stretch in the left hip flexor, really pressing down into the left foot and the left knee. See if you can get your right foot far enough forward that you're creating nice straight bend here. You don't want your knee going beyond your ankle. And just continue to feel it out here. Okay, tucking the back foot under. We're going to raise that back knee up as high as we can, coming up into a high lunge. Just keeping our arms on the floor here, trying to keep things as nice and easy as possible. See if you can bring your chest up nice and proud, creating a nice straight line from your back ankle all the way up to the crown of your head. And then from here, we're going to take our left hand, we're going to spread it open, maybe bringing it to point to the ceiling if that's available to you. If you're struggling here or your breathing is becoming condensed, feel free to tuck this hand behind your back. This will continue to give you a little bit of a shoulder opening, but at the same time, ease that pressure. What we don't want to be doing is falling down maybe at the 2 o'clock position. We want to keep ourselves nice and upright, like so. Keep pressing into that back ankle. And then start on an exhale, begin to lower. Then we're just going to bring it to the other side, lifting up the right arm. Again, either bringing it to the ceiling or tucking it behind our backs. Again, keeping the chest nice and proud. And then on your next exhale, just slowly lower it back down to the ground, like so. And then from here, we're just going to drop that knee down and begin to sit back, pulling the right toes up towards the ceiling. Creating a nice long stretch in the back of the leg. Again, no need to stress too much. Maybe try to push your bum as far away from you as possible, just to increase the intensity of the stretch if you need to. Continue to breathe nice and deeply here. Okay, and from here what we're going to do is we're going to turn 90 degrees so that we're facing side on. Maybe extend the leg a little bit further out if you need to. So we've got one knee straight on the ground, one out nice and wide, standing up nice and tall. If the sides of your hips are tight, you might feel it across here. We're just going to engage like so. Try and see if you can get your right toes to point forward. Maybe the back ankle out a little bit wider to ensure. And we're just going to take our hands over our head like so. If you get to a point where it starts to become too intense, feel free to just pause where you are, because that will be your threshold point. Don't continue to push it if you don't feel comfortable. So if you've got room to move, maybe lower the right arm down, taking the left arm, maybe giving a little bit of a tricep stretch at the same time. We're just holding, chilling out here. In your right foot, try and see if you can put your weight into the outer part of your foot. And then if you've got availability, maybe take your left arm behind the back, grabbing onto the right arm, creating a bind behind you. Again, further opening out the shoulders. Breathe nice and deeply. And then on an exhale, release. We're just going to curve back round, face forward, returning to a nice low lunge. And then on an exhale, we're just going to take that foot back through, lifting it up to 90 degrees again. And then exhale, bring it to the floor. Very nice. Next time, we're going to do the same but on the opposing side. So lifting that foot up, 90 degrees, nice and tall. Keep a nice long back, and then exhale, tuck and bring that foot forward, in between the toes, leaning forward into a nice low lunge, putting the weight into the back foot, making sure the chest is nice and proud, looking forward. Just continue to breathe. Okay, from here, on your next inhale, we're going to take our right arm, going to swing it round, maybe point it to the ceiling. Don't worry if you can't. And also don't worry if this side doesn't feel as flexible as the other side. It's perfectly natural. If you're struggling a bit on this side, again, feel free to bring the arm behind the back. Otherwise, keep the chest nice and open. And then lowering back down. Tuck the back foot under, come up into a high lunge, creating nice big space in the hips, pushing back in that back ankle. And then on your next inhale, raise the left arm, bring that to the ceiling or maybe behind your back. And see how deeply you can breathe into this posture. As you inhale, feel the intensity of the stretch increase. And then as you exhale, see if there's any space becomes available to maybe deepen into the stretch a little bit more. Okay, on your next exhale, lower back down. And then dropping the back knee, we're going to sit back, pulling the left toes up to the ceiling, creating a nice long stretch up the back of the leg. Again, continue to breathe. We're not doing anything too strenuous here. We're not trying to push ourselves through it. We're trying to find a nice easy way to sit in these poses. The way to think about it is that the pose should be comfortable enough that if this is all you were going to do for the next 15 minutes, it should be comfortable enough for you to sit for that duration. Okay, from here we're going to open out so that we're on the left foot, out wide with our right foot in towards the body, just kneeling down, keeping the left toes out nice and straight. Try and see if you can make a bit of length in the body, pulling the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Then on an inhale, raise the arms up, nice and tall. Then exhale, drop the left arm, take a hold of your left elbow and pull it across, creating a nice tricep stretch. Again, if this is too uncomfortable or too intense, feel free to take it back a step just so that you can ease it off a little bit. You can always work your way back up. So continue to breathe nice and deeply. If you've got room for it, maybe taking the right arm behind the back, creating a bind with the left arm, intensifying the stretch a little bit further. And then on an exhale, release. And we're just going to turn everything back around so we're in that nice low lunge. And then we're going to tuck the foot under, bring it up into a variation of three-legged dog, and then bring it back down to the floor. And then to finish off, we'll take the feet nice and wide, toes together. We'll just sit back again into the pose. Maybe getting your chest and your head to the ground if that's available to you. Maybe pulling the bum muscles back to the ankles. Just continue to breathe nice and deeply. See how long you can make your breaths. See if you can, basically with every breath, see if you can hold it a little bit longer, extend it a little bit further. And then while we're in child's pose, use the friction of your mat with your hands to maybe pull against, straightening out the armpits a little bit further. Then on an inhale, raise yourself back up and bring yourself back into a nice seated position on the mat. Tucking the feet wherever feels comfortable, maybe crossing the feet over, tucking the feet under, or maybe in a little bit of a lotus pose if that's available to you. We'll just sit up nice and tall, chest nice and proud, drop the shoulders down. Then there's that mannequin string pulling you from the crown of the head, and just continue to breathe. Thank you everyone for joining me today. Hope you have a great day ahead, and namaste.